My girlfriend demanded I go into crippling debt to fund her cosmetic surgeries. When I refused, she blocked me and disappeared. Now, a month later, she's back, begging to reconcile. I'm a 34-year-old man, and about a year ago, I met someone who seemed like the missing piece of my life. Fun, supportive, and charismatic. She appreciated my down-to-earth nature, or so I thought. We dove into a serious relationship, and in no time we were talking about building a future, traveling, maybe even living together. I was ecstatic about the possibility of something lasting. Then, weeks ago, everything shifted. She started casually mentioning how she wanted to alter herself, at first with little more than offhand comments about her nose or her figure. I reassured her that she looked great as is and that self-love was key. But she pushed further, eventually showing me brochures for a full suite of surgeries. Nose job, liposuction, breast augmentation, her entire transformation laid out in front of me. She smiled, explaining how this would change her life forever. What stunned me most wasn't the plan itself, but her demand that I foot the bill. Not a contribution, but a full loan in my name to finance every procedure. She claimed it was a romantic investment in our future, something I should want to do if I loved her. I was floored. I asked why she couldn't finance it herself, or at least share the burden, and she shrugged, explaining that her credit was ruined by past mistakes. She promised this transformation would improve both our lives. The audacity took my breath away. She was asking for thousands, tying our future together with a loan I'd be saddled with. I tried reasoning with her, warning about the financial and medical risks, but she dismissed every concern. She accused me of not wanting her to be her best self and insisted that real relationships required sacrifice. The arguments grew fierce. She mocked me, calling me stingy and unromantic, accusing me of blocking her path to happiness. Finally, she gave me an ultimatum. Take out the loan and fund her surgeries, or she was done. The weight of the decision was suffocating, go into debt for her or lose her. But I knew it was a massive red flag. I refused. Her response was swift and dramatic. She sneered, said we had nothing left to talk about, and blocked me across every platform. She gathered her things from my apartment in record time, leaving me stunned. The future we had once envisioned evaporated the moment I said no to her demand. At first, I was heartbroken, but a part of me felt a deep, weary relief for sticking to my principles. In the days that followed, I replayed our final conversation, questioning if I'd been too harsh. But every time I revisited it, I knew I couldn't have done anything different. She didn't just want my emotional support. She wanted me to finance her vanity. As time passed, I leaned on friends and shared the bare-bones version of the story. They were stunned by her audacity, and some even questioned if I'd seen warning signs earlier. Looking back, there had been subtle hints, comments about men who truly loved their partners never being cheap, or how real relationships required grand gestures. Weeks passed, and I moved on, finding a sense of peace in my routines. Then, a month later, I got a message from an unknown number. It was her. She apologized for how things ended, claiming she acted out of passion and wanted a second chance. Conflicted, I agreed to meet her, but I kept the location neutral. When she walked in, she wore a smile that felt too rehearsed. Before I could speak, she launched into a dramatic tale about how she missed me, how her friends had twisted her mind, and how she was ready to compromise. But her compromise was nothing more than a toned-down version of the same demand. She still wanted me to finance her cosmetic goals, just on a smaller scale. I asked her if she truly missed me, or if she just missed the idea of me paying for her transformation. Her response was a wounded look and more talk about love and support. But the conversation kept returning to the money. Frustration surged inside me. I told her bluntly, I wasn't taking out any loans, large or small. If she wanted those surgeries, she would have to take responsibility for them herself. Her voice trembled as she tried to make me feel guilty, claiming the surgeries would help her confidence, alleviate anxiety, and improve her future job prospects. She wanted me to be her hero, but I wasn't buying it. A relationship isn't about buying someone's transformation, I said. It's about mutual support. But this isn't support, this is exploitation. She tried to turn the tables, calling me selfish, accusing me of lacking ambition. I calmly reminded her that I had my own plans, maybe one day a modest home, a small business. But sacrificing my financial future for her vanity wasn't on the list. Then she switched tactics, leaning across the table with a softer tone, promising to make me proud once she had the surgeries. She even said she'd pay me back someday, though without any specifics. It was more wishful thinking than a real plan, and I saw through it. I realized, in that moment, that I was nothing more than a fallback, her last option when no one else would finance her dream. I refused to be manipulated any longer. I stood up, told her we were done, and left. The texts came pouring in after I left the cafe. Apologies, accusations, pleas for one more chance. I ignored them all. She hadn't changed. Over the next few days, she tried every angle, sending voice memos of desperate cries followed by angry demands. But each message only reaffirmed what I already knew. Her focus was still on getting me to fund her surgeries. She still believed I owed her a new image. I stood firm and sent one final text, making it clear, "I've made my decision. Please respect that we are not getting back together." She asked if we could remain friends, but I made it clear that real friendship isn't about manipulating someone into taking out loans for your own benefit. I blocked her. Word got around, and some were sympathetic, others confused, claiming I could have helped her just a little if I loved her. But for me, I learned the most important lesson. You never compromise your financial stability and self-respect for someone who can't respect your boundaries. In the end, I dodged a bullet. My ex insisted on cosmetic surgeries at my expense, left when I refused, then came crawling back with the same demands. I stood my ground, and it was the only sane choice. Ironically, the more she called me selfish, the more I realized I just made the right decision.